You notice there's a bit of a freak out among certain segments of Democrats and members of the media about Bernie Sanders' strong position in the Democratic field. And there are, I think, two aspects to the freak out. One substantive, from people who they don't like his politics and his policies. They think he would be a bad president. And to that I say, fine, that the argument over which candidate's policy platform best serves America is the right argument to have during a primary. But the much bigger argument, or the one that I see more often, is that Sanders is sure to be an electoral disaster. He's going to be George McGovern all over again. He's going to get annihilated. And I am just here to tell you that the evidence we have, to the extent we have evidence about an unknowable future, just does not support that at all. I mean, I spend all day looking at this stuff. I would love to know the future, as we all would. We can't know the future. All we can do is just look at some of the evidence that we have. And I'm telling you, it's not in the data. It just isn't. Here are the head-to-head matchups between President Trump and the Democratic presidential candidates. He is consistently, in poll after poll after poll, at or near the top of all of them, while the candidates who are characterized often as more electable are lower. Sanders has higher favorability ratings than any other Democratic presidential candidate in the field. His campaign has raised more money. His campaign's cash on hand in the latest FEC filing more than double the other non-billionaire candidates, and his ability to raise money is not nothing when it comes to electability and possibly $1 billion being dropped on his head. Now, there are swing district congressional members in Congress who really do worry about Sanders' effects on them, about being dragged down on those down ballot races. And I got to say, they might be right. They know their districts well. They also might be wrong. I don't know. I do know I definitely heard that a lot in 2016 from a lot of swing Republican members. As political scientist Kyle Kondik points out in the New York Times op-ed, those fears about down ballot drags might be overstated. But I'm open to the data. We'll see. I mean, look, left-wing candidates sometimes lose. They sometimes get drubbed. George McGovern wasn't a left-winger. He was a liberal, but he famously lost in a landslide defeat to Richard Nixon in 1972 after his insurgent progressive campaign managed to capture the Democratic Party nomination. And that's a trauma that has stayed with people for generations, understandably so. If you can point me the data that we have where Sanders is 7 points behind in head-to-head matchups with Trump, I think there'd be real reason to worry. But it's just not what the data says. If you don't like Bernie Sanders because you don't think he would be a good president, then that's your choice. You should act on that as a citizen. But if you are freaking out because he is so obviously an electoral disaster, I'm here to tell you it's just not what the information that we have now suggests. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.